Kiva soll das der Herren. So if Kiva hears this, ich will sagen Kiva euch. I'll tell Kiva also. Moisheke, wegen der Taten. So Moisheke, about your father. Is nicht mein Tata. Is not my father. Moisheke läuft Stere noch ihr Hodulnik in der Finster. So she calls him and Stere runs after him in the darkness. Sie schluckt sich up on Tisch. Sie kehrt über a Stuhl. So she bumps into the table and she knocks over a chair. Aber Moisheke läuft von ihr und schreit. But Moisheke runs away from her and he shouts. Ich will sich schmaden. I'll convert to Christianity. Bist heint von Sinnen, Rob Moisheke? Have you taken leave of your senses, Moisheke? Los, ich will dir a tapton in dem Stern. So, wait, let me check your forehead. Oder ich will sein a ganef, or I'll become a thief, schreit Moisheke. A ganef wie Freike will ich werden. I'll become a ganef like Freike. That's what I'll do. Stere ist stehen geblieben inmitten, plonteren sich herum Tisch, zwischen die zerrückte Stühlen. So Stere remained standing while in the middle of her fumbling around the table between the chairs that had been pushed aside. Der Strajunik soll werden ganef wie Freuke hat sich ungehört Mamestiker, Vogediker. So this threat to become a thief like Freuke sounded much more realistic and much more significant to her. Es ist etwas nicht so glatt, Straschunek wie schmaden sich. Oder this should be unterzinden. There's a nun missing. It's a typo. There's it wasn't the same sort of a threat as converting or setting alight.
What is that? Setting alight meaning burning himself?
No, burning. He threatened to burn Zava's house down.
Right.
Right.
He said,
Okay. Yeah. I remember he
said this is what he was going to do.
Yeah, he was going to
Yeah,
burn
we
the
read
house.
it on the previous page.
Yeah.
Right.
I saw that. But
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Das Herz ist ihr plötzlich schwach geworden. Die ausgezeugene Arms abgestorben. So suddenly her heart became weak and her hands hanging at her side became almost like withered, like paralyzed. Hat sie sich herabgelassen auf den ersten besten Stuhl und sich zerweint. weiberisch, glücklich, mit kurze und tiefe Schluchzen. So she just sat herself down on the first chair that was available, and she sobbed. A woman's unhappy sobbing with short and deep sobs.
You know, excuse me for 1 minute. You remember a little while back in the description of the Shabbos scene, and we had a discussion about whether, or I think it was Rachel who said that she was disengaging herself from Moshe. But I think you can see here that she's still very much involved with this child and very caught up in him and very concerned about him. And there isn't the distance that was suggested. She's completely in, to my reading of that.
Okay, this is what I like to say. Yeah, she still is. I think that she goes back and forth. She's engaged. She's trying to distance herself, but she's still attached to him. Of course, she's attached to him, but she also tried to distance herself at the time. At the time that I, who is always right, said that she was distancing herself. Yes, but it's not that she did not decide to distance herself from him, and that's why she didn't get up to give him food back then. That's how she felt, you know. She felt. Yeah, but and now she feels like she's still his mommy, and it's not like she completely cut off from him. You know, it goes back and forth, and this is how human emotion is. Sometimes we don't love so much those we love, you know, and sometimes we don't hate so much those we hate, and there's a hate-love relationship.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of relationships, so that's what I think.
I think that earlier, when Moshe came back to the house after the disaster at the orchard, she was preoccupied with her
Shabbos, and she was so enchanted with it, and it was after he came back from the Cheder that incident occurred.
Yeah, that is true.
And look, but to me, for me anyway, this was proof that her relationship with the child is still very intense. And
absolutely, yeah.
And later on, as we'll read on, you'll see she tries to stop Kiva from doing what he's going to do, but we'll see. But
continue.
Okay, yes, of course.
Okay, so Janke, please.
Okay, von einem plötzlichen Übergang von Wellen im Beruhigen zu bitteren Gewein ist Moscheke geworden ein bisschen kalamutner. So from this sudden transition from wanting to calm him down to this bitter sobbing, this bitter crying, Mosheke became a little bit dejected. Und wer weiß, who knows, wird öfter Charotte gekrogen auf seine Grobkeit und wird zugegangen zu Sternen überbetten sie. And who knows, perhaps he even regretted his rudeness, and he wanted to approach Shtera again and apologize to her. Nor do hat sich aufgerissen die Tier und an Atem getan mit frischer Kühlkeit von Savuluk und mit Wochedigkeit. But suddenly the door swung open and a breath of this fresh, cold air from the Zavuluk came in, and also the Wochedigkeit, the weekdayness, as opposed to the Shabbos, which had just ended. Kiva is ongekommen von Ma'ariv Davenen. Kiva arrived from davening Ma'ariv. Nor hat upon him nit der Wart as a finsternis in Stub, but apparently he had not expected such such darkness in the house. A good Woch hat koim arois gestammelt. Kein Feuer nicht angezündet? So he wishes there a good Woch. He stammered out. You haven't even lit a fire yet? Keiner hat ihm nicht geantwortet. Moisheke hat sich verteilt. Neither of them answered him. Moisheke actually hid away from him. Stere hat der stickt ihr gewein, and Stere repressed her crying. Stere, du, hat sich Kiva genommen zu hören. Was tut sich da? Das da. So Stere, Kiva started zu hören, so looking around. What's happening over here? Und noch einer Stere hat bewiesen, rauszutrecken in ihre Tränen, hat schon Kiva angezündet nach Schwebele. Und bald nachdem Chelevne Lichtel. And while Stere was still drying her tears, Kiva had already lit a match, and immediately after that, a tallow candle.
Okay, you want a break?
Yeah, let me have a break.
Goldele, you want to read?
I'm at Flatterdicken Blendschein, a Blendschein von Lichtel, hat Kiva dazen amodnet Stena. By the first flicker of the light of the candle, Kiva already saw a strange scene. Stere, sein Weib, sitzt eingebeugen auf einen niedrigen Stuhl und klippet stiller Hate. His wife, Stere, was sitting bent over on a low stool and was crying quietly. Und Moisheke steht angelehnt in a Winkel und pentelt. And Moisheke was standing in a corner and pentelt. Die Leute seien bei ihm zu Scheibe und gar nicht in Ordnung. His red hair were messed up, and what's his garnet tell?
His outfit.
His outfit wasn't in order. Und sein gestrengter Panem hat den scharfsten Ausdruck von a Jungatsch. And his face, which was angestrengt, it was in anger, as if he was holding something back, had a sharp outlook from a young person. Was hat abgetan a Meister that just finished doing something not so kosher.
Well, a young Gotch, a young Gotch.
Yeah.
Young Gotch.
Yungach is
Is
a rascal.
Yeah, not
Yes.
not just a young.
Not a young person who's not so nice.
Well, okay.
Young Gotch.
Die zurückgestohlen am Tisch und der ein umgeworfene Bänkel haben noch zugegeben besonder Grund dem ganzen Bild. And the stools were in disarray around the table, and the stool that was thrown around didn't give the entire picture. It left a strangeness over the whole picture of the room. Mit dem wachedicken Chush, with the weekly feeling, was verschafft sich bei jeden Shabbos nach Meirev, that happens in a Jewish homes Shabbos after the davening. Hat Kiva der Schmeck als Sterne senkt, das Lied dem Hadulnik. And so he realized that his wife was crying because of the youngster. Die ganze Vista Szene in Stub, the entire scene in the house, auf der volle Wach, hat ihm euch zerreißt. Aber glaubst zerreißt. Na. The entire scene in the house after the week, it tore him apart. Man hebt schon an zu haben dem Emerson Naches von Tachshit. You're supposed to have some joy from the child. What is this? What is it?
Wait. Excuse me. I think what it means is, Shtera, we're beginning to see what this boy is really about. It's like now you see what's happening here. It's not we're supposed to. Now you see it.
Now this is ironic. Now we are starting to get pleasure from this kid. You see now what Sores is bringing us. Really, that's what he's saying.
What is Jitter still afraid? What's happening? He asks quietly. Nicht zu sterben, nicht zu Hudalnik gewinnt. He's asking, but he's not asking his wife, and he's not really asking Meshike. Hat sich zum Pasuk von die Heisen und stoppet mit der Nose. he
Mm-mm.
he grabbed something from his pants,
His
Belt.
belt. His
No,
belt.
he's grabbing his belt, fasten his belt.
from his belt of his
Yeah.
pants, and he's blowing his nose, or wipes his nose. Kein Havdalah lich afillen it ungegreat. You didn't even arrange a Havdalah light. Kein Wein auf dem Tisch, no wine on the table. Statt gibt sich a Hefeis und reibt sich die angeschwollene Augen. Statt stands up and she rubs her swollen eyes. Sie will den Mann havieren und Meischigen will sie euch nicht verschuldigen. She wants to obey her husband, but she doesn't want to blame Meishika. When is in ganzen Tumult, when Kiefer's plötzlich hereinfallen und stürzt mit seinem Gutwach und mit seiner balabatischer Strengkeit. And she's suddenly bewildered from Kiefer's sudden entry into the house with his good week and with his sternness, balabatischer sternness. Let's say Kiva sein Hart zum Holdatnik. So Kiva is letting out how he feels to the child. Du, wo bist du das gewesen? Meishike schweigt. You, where were you? Meishike was silent. Wo bist du das gewesen? Frag ich. He repeats himself. Where were you? Tritt zu ihm Kiva zu. And Kiva is moving towards him. Sind Meischigen reingegeben in a katzevischen Rede zu erleben, a Katz ist Kiva eurer Sach strenger geworden. Since they sent Meishika to the Katzevin Cheder to a rabbi, a special to a rabbi that hits the children, is Kiva Eich angrier, a sterner. He became a sterner dad. Etwas wie gewollt unterstützen der Melamed Shita, as if he wanted to reinforce the teacher's
method.
right. Meishike soll zu stark nicht fühlen dem größten Unterschied zwischen Heim und Rede, so that Meishike would not notice the stern difference between the house and the Cheder. And a fella had sinned in a schwerer minute, and especially now in this stern minute, anstatt abzuwarten, a Weilitschke, bis alle wollen sich beruhigen. A fella, especially now, he doesn't want to wait a little while until everyone will quiet down. Anstatt voneinander zu fragen, was da is geschehen, instead of asking, what happened here? Trabt an Meischigen fahren, Danita und träßelt him. So he grabs him, Meischigen by his neck, and shakes him.
His suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gordale.
Okay, Hashem.
Ons nicht vergessen Jiddisch.
No,
No.
yes, I cannot vergessen.
Ja, okay. Nechama?
Men fragt doch etwas bei dir. We're asking you something, Moisheke. Also umgelupperten Mittel aufzuklären, die Zerruderung in Stub hat schon Stere nicht gekannt vertragen. Such a ridiculous way of dealing with the problems in the house, the unrest in the house is something that Stere could not accept. Sie hat sich Aris getun zu Kiewen und ungehabt ihm bei den Ohren. She gave a rip, a move to Kiva, and she grabbed him by his arm. Los im shoin, los him, let him be, Kiva, let him be a little bit. Aber Kiva hat schon bemerkt, as Moishike's arbel is zerrissen. But Kiva had already noticed that Moishike's sleeve was ripped. Koim, was halt sich auf etliche Fäden beim Eilenborgen. The sleeve was ripped and it was barely holding itself by several threads near the elbow. Und das, was ist, schreit noch stärker. And what's this? This is further proof that something terrible has happened here. He screams even harder. Moishike's bloye Eugen lupen sich aus mit a modnem Ausdruck von Zulachach le Zuluches mit a wilde Glanz von a verjockten Emmetsucher, was springt in Feuer rein. Oy Kiddush Hashem. Wow, what an image. Moishike's blue eyes lupen sich. I don't know what that is. Turn themselves, or
They opened wide.
They opened wide with a strange expression of as though to make angry, with a wild glance from a hurried truth seeker, an emes zocher, who is springing into the fire to proclaim Kiddush Hashem for the glory of Hashem. So what is happening to Moshe at this moment? He has the wild look of a truth seeker who's jumping into the fire after Kiddush Hashem. He's sacrificing himself.
I think that he has come to a moment of truth. He is here now. He is here by now to make a declaration of his truth that he had never expressed before. He had never said that they call him mamzer. He had never said you are not my parents. And now he is out to fight this situation and to express exactly the feelings that have been accumulated in him all along.
Okay, good. Let's continue.
Ich hab gegangen mit Barlech. Rett Reue. Kimat Stillerheit. Und stecht durch Hiven mit sein Cook. I was stealing pears, and he speaks quietly, almost stillerdick, still, and he looks at he steckt durch, he goes through Kiva with his look. Kiva tritt op auf hinten. Kiva backs off. A guck auf Moscheken, a guck auf Stern, a look to Moscheke, a look to Stern. Sein Kohl wird plötzlich heiserig. His voice suddenly becomes hoarse. Du hörst, was dein Tagschi sagt? Now he's speaking to his wife. You hear what your jewel here is saying? Meiner azoi wie deiner, mine like yours. Sich stellte wie a Schlang, los on ihm. He's mine and he's yours. Is that cursed or is that with a lung?
Hisses. Hisses.
Again?
She
Hisses.
hisses.
She's gotten her shazza. She hisses like a snake. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. Lozim krimpt Kiva ibil. Bar azar zach lozinim. Let him be. He wrinkles. He
repeats. He repeats.
He repeats. For such a thing to let him alone. Habt sich zum Passig von der Häusin und soppet mit der Nuss. He grabs the belt from the pants and he soppet is to
gasp.
To gasp. He gasps with his nose. Wart, ich will ihm schon bald losen, will ich. You'll see, wait, you'll see what I'm going to do. Mit bolte Augen und mit den ungelacherischen Funkel in verstarrten Guck glotzt Moscheke und rührt sich nicht von Ort. With his eyes bulging, with this is like a spark in his
mocking.
Yeah.
A mocking.
That's, the word gelächter, lachen.
Yeah. In his, he does not move from this earth. Seine Kutscherer reißen sich wie a Flammfeuer von unter sich, verscharrten Hinterle. His curly hair, they like rip out, like they flame out like fire from under his Farshaten, I found, was his mischievous hat. How could it be his mischievous hat?
Isn't it covered?
Like maybe tilted, or maybe it's in an odd...
Something about the position of the head.
Position, yes.
Kiva geht ahead der befreiten Passig. Kiva gives a lift to the freed belt. Und da geschieht a modne Sach. And now something very strange happens. Wie a meshugener Hintel geht Moscheke a Sprung Kiven in der Augen. Like a crazed dog, Moscheke gives a spring, a lunge to Kiva in the eyes. Schreit schmeißt sich nicht. You, he cries, you cannot hit me. Ihr seid nicht mein Vater, you are not my father. Mit dem Passig in der Hand, with the belt in the hand, with a golemschen Ausdruck und mit an offenem Mäuel bleibt Kiva stehen a Weilenschke. He has the belt in his hand, and with like a golem, an expression like a golem, and with an open mouth, Kiva is standing there a minute. Noch kommt zu sich und gibt a Reva. wie an ox. And he stops for a minute and then he gives a roar like an ox. Vos, klimt. There's that word again, always repeats it. Klimt Moshe Iber. A mamzer bin ich, a mamzer. Und unter. And he gives Moshe is I am a mamzer. Und unter, I'll just finish this last sentence. Will noch ois schreien, als men hat ihn gefunden unter Gane, nur der schreit nicht. Der Mummes Oisen nimmt ihm ab dem Loschen. He wants to say that you found me under the Gane, under the porch. But he doesn't do it because the Mumma's her appearance takes away his breath. And now you'll finish the story.
Yeah,
Or
okay.
no, you won't finish it. You won't finish because the story is not finished here, but you'll finish this.
Oh, okay, let's see. Okay. Sie ist im Ganzen zusammengebrochen. She is completely broken down, Sherry. Auf dieser Wendung in Musser sagen, dem Hudolnik hat sie sich bestimmt auf nicht gericht. She wasn't ready. She didn't expect such a turn into preaching her foundling, into preaching actually preaching by her foundling.
Right.
By her foundling. She didn't expect him to give such a sermon. That you're not my parents, and I am my mom's there, and I was found under the porch. She wasn't expecting that. Zwei verschiedene Elters, zwei Honors,
Elders, not elders.
Elters, I said elders. Zwei verschiedene Elters, zwei Honors, ein Wildjünger und ein alter, eingesparter Honor haben sich da zusammengeknäult wie die Schlangen. Two, I would say two egos. A young, wild person and an old, stubborn ego rolled up together like two snakes. Und kidei voneinander knippeln od dem lebendigen gefährlichen Plonter und sich Zerre herabgelassen auf die Knie. And in order to to open up that
To unravel.
Unravel, right.
okay, or the Sarah went on her knees like they do in the during prayer when they kneel on, and she caught her foundling by his thin, maybe
Hips.
hip.
His
Okay,
body.
okay, hip. Okay,
He's thin.
right. Moshinke mein Sohn hier again. Azoi schäptet sie mit abgestorbenen Lieben. Was redst du? Se, Moshinke. My son, she's whispering with dead lips. What are you talking about? Look, look. Und plötzlich kriegt sie zurück ihr Koyach, and suddenly she gets her strength back, und ihr Call von a Balebos changed too, and she gets back her voice of a homemaker of a house. Sie steht auf a hoiche, she steht auf a hoiche adare a giftige. She stands up and she's tall, thin, and but I can't. Here I found this. This is toxic or poisonous, and I don't understand why.
That might be a woman, an accomplished woman, a gift to get.
That's not it. It's not a gifted.
No.
It's
It's poison.
She's poisoned. She's
Oh, a gift.
Poison.
Okay.
yeah.
It's poison one.
Yeah.
But like,
Und herabliche Hände ziehen sich wie zwei aufgeöffnete Zwangen zu Kives Wohl. And her thin hands are stretching like two open pliers to Kives beard. Gazlen, Ratzchen, schreit sie. These are all words to a criminal. You're a thief, a murderer, she screams. Was hast du sich zugechappet zum Kind? What do you want from the child? Why are you bothering the child? Sehst nicht, was es tut sich mit dem? Don't you see what's going on with him? Kind, child, grimmt über Kive. Das Wort Kind zerreizt ihm noch mehr. The word child angers him even more. Ich will dir bald weisen, was man tut mit a Kind. I'll soon show you what is done with such a child. Mit a frisch aufgebräusten Kass, with zerfochet Kive sein aufgenommenem Pasek, oi weh. So now, with a renewed, turned on anger, Kive waves. Now he's the
Belt.
the belt that he took off.
yeah.
A verblendenisch und betäubenisch ringlen im Herum. It's as if he's like blind and deaf. He doesn't see and he doesn't hear. It's like he's just focused on he's gonna do with the belt. Zed nicht Moshe ken. Here he doesn't see. That's the blindness. Hört nicht Sheres geschrien. He doesn't hear Sheres shouting. Aruf und Arob geht der Pasek und rechnet sich mit Imetzen ab. Up and down the belt goes and gets even with somebody. Rechnet sich ab für der Zerruderung in Stub, für Avdala machen, für der Meure in Herzen, als sagt, Kriegerei Mozei Shabbos wird sich abrufen auf der Kommen der Woche. He's getting even. Yeah, but it should be Kumendike, no? Yeah. He's paying back for the mess in the house before making Havdalah, for his fear also for the fear in his heart that such fighting on Saturday night will stretch into the coming week. Schmitz wie Hagel fallen auf Moischekes places. Beatings like hail are falling on Moischekes back. Amis Zach was Kive auch noch keinmal nicht getan mit sein Hodulnik. This is an ugly thing that Kive never had done before with his foundling. Und das meiste davon ist das, was Moischeke antläuft nicht von die Schmitz. The ugliest thing of all is that Moischeke doesn't even run away from these beatings. Nor beigt sich als mehr und mehr. Only he is bending down more and more. Und go plötzlich geht hysterisch a Geschrei und a Fall auf a Seite. And also suddenly he's uttering a hysterical shout, and he is falling on his side. Mit ein Hand, der noch mit beide Händen, hebt on zu grabbeln wie am Teuraf in die Keschenes. Hastig schleppt heraus nicht zeitige Barlach und Fläumelach und wart sie auf der Podloge. With one hand and then with another hand, he is looking in like a crazy man in the pockets, and he takes out the non-ready unripe pears and plums, and he throws them on the floor. A schlepp und a wurf, he takes some out and he throws on the floor. A schlepp und a wurf.
Excuse me, do you remember when they were in the tree? This
Yeah.
is an echo of, they were pulling and they put it in the pocket. They pulled
Exactly, yeah, the same thing.
Yeah, the same.
Yeah, right.
Word.
The same music. It's like the same, yeah. The same poem, almost, yeah.
Mhm.
Es ist das eigene bisschen zeitige Oibs, was hat hein bewiesen anzureißen, in Saves Sod iberen Ploy, man hat ihm dort gehabt. This is the little bit of the unripe fruit that today he managed to pick in Zave's orchard above the fence before he was caught. Natach, take it, schreit und he screams and he waits. Natach, als, here, take it all, everything. Tage gegangen wird. Indeed, I stole. Als gegangen. Stole everything. I stole everything. Now, how about giving them let's cover to our rov? That's what I was planning. To finish, before we say Chazak,
yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's a very unsatisfying ending.
Ja,
Okay.
so ja, mooi.
Die wilde chutzpe von einer so 9-jährigen Schneck, der schüttet Kiewen. The bizarre insolence of this 9-year-old rascal shocks Kiva. Bleibt weiter stehen mit dem Passach in Hand und mit einem offenen Maul. And he remains standing with the belt in his hand and with his mouth open. Nur Moisheke wart schon mehr nicht erzind, bis Kiva wird kommen zu sich. But now Moisheke doesn't wait any longer until Kiva takes hold of himself. Wie a Schrittele springt auf, stellt sich weg, geht a Riss ab und warf zu Kivas Fies, dem zerrissenen, herabgehangenen Arbel. He, like a Schrittele is a dwarf or a goblin, he jumps up and he stands up, he rips the torn sleeve and throws it at Kiva's feet. Es ist eine min stumme Herausforderung zum Kampf auf Leben und Tod. It's like a sort of silent challenge to the struggle between life and death. A ganef will ich takke sein, a ganef. I will become a thief, really become a thief. Shere chapt him on by Apollo. Shere grabs him by his coattail. Nor Moisheke reißt sich heraus von ihrer herablie Hand und läuft zu der halb offenen Tür. But Moisheke tears himself away from her gnarled hands and he runs towards the half-open door. Geht sie I don't know what it's unclear.
Mhm.
Gives the apral off. That he gives. He's slamming the door. He gives. This is Aleph, I think.
Oh, okay. So gibt sie prall auf und umdrehendig sein zerhitzten Ponym zu dem alten Porvolk schreit euch noch einmal. So he pushes open the door and turning his excited face towards the old couple, he shouts out once again, Ich will sein a ganef, ot dafke. I'll become a thief. That's what I'll do. Und dann läuft in der Nacht rein, and he ran out into the night. Verblüfft von einer Hastigkeit und von einer kochendicken Sinne bleiben stehen Kiva und Stere bei dem gelbenen, ungezündeten Lichtel. Astounded by the quickness of this boiling hatred, Shere and Kiva remain standing at the tallow candle, the lit tallow candle. Gemeint haben sie, als man hat 9 Jahre nacheinander gehoddet a Händler in Stub. It seemed to them that they, for 9 years, one after the other, they had brought up a little chicken in the house. Erst es ist gor a soroka, and now only it has become a magpie. A Krake geton und a weggeflogen. It gave a squawk and flew away. In der ersten Minute haben sie auch viele kein Koyach nicht gehabt, zu siedeln sich. Zu a Ruf warfen einer auf den anderen die Schuld. And for the first moment, they didn't even have the strength to berate to one another, to blame, to throw the blame one on the other. Via Beise Nevua hat sie ungeklungen Moschekes Straschunik und verklungen die euren, aber nicht sei beide und nicht a viele der zu Lahachis entlaufene Moscheken haben gewusst, als die Nevua wird gar in Gichen Mekuyim sein. So like an angry prophecy, the Mosheke's threat rang in their ears. But both, but neither of them, and even this in the Tzulahachis is to spite them. The Mosheka who ran away to spite them, they knew.
Oh, maybe, sorry, the spiteful Mosheke. Because this is like that's an adjective that's all.
Yeah, okay. So the spiteful Mosheka who has run away, they knew that this prophecy would very soon be realized.
They didn't know.
Thank you.
Aber nicht.
Yeah.
They didn't know. Aber
No, they
nicht
didn't.
They didn't know. They
didn't know
Yeah.
that this prophecy was going to be fulfilled.
Right.
It's really not a prophecy, it's a promise that
It's a terrible ending, I'm sorry.
yeah, but it's not even an ending because more material was lost. More material from this book was lost in the Holocaust. So we don't know what's happening with
Yeah.
Moshe. Thank you.
Well, that was
The whole
quite an
story and
experience.
this kind of an ending is just not fulfilling.